This is Joseph Waring reporting for Telecom Asia at Broadband Asia in Singapore. This afternoon, I'm joined by Bryan Tan. Bryan is Ericsson's Vice President of Fixed Broadband and Convergence for Southeast Asia and Oceania. Welcome, Bryan. Thanks for joining me today. Driven by the rapid uptake of smartphones and the popularity of streaming video, data volumes around the world are soaring, which is creating a huge challenge for telecom operators. What do you think is most important for operators to address this challenge?
Data in the mobile industry is indeed growing. It grew by 80% from 2012 to 2013. And this year we predict that a lot of the growth, 75% of the growth, is driven by video. But that's just one dimension of data growth. The other dimension is a plethora of apps have flourished. And the Ericsson Mobility Report predicts that there will be 25% more apps that is available in society, and the number of users that download an app at least once a month will increase from 30 to 40%. So both these trends are rising, and what that means is that the consumers, and here we mean consumers, individual consumers and enterprise consumers, would require more personalization, and they are also demanding for better performance from the networks. Now, for the networks to then respond to these dual demands of personalization and superior performance, they need to embed three principles. And these principles are agility, innovation, and efficiency.
Well, those three things may sound simple on the surface, but how do operators actually get to that point?
Right, so when we talk about agility, what we are really targeting is time to market. In core networks today, when a service provider wants to launch a service, there is an ingestion period of 3 to 6 months. They have to test it, they have to verify it, and then they launch. We're talking about shortening the time to market from in order of months to weeks and even days. So that's about agility. In terms of innovation, we're talking about how does the network provide the same level of personalization as we get on the internet. The best example is Facebook. I log on to my wall. It is a personalized experience for me as it is for another billion people out there. So how can service providers' services be personalized and customized in a self-service way and drive that? The second aspect of innovation is we are beginning to see innovation in terms of business models. We have examples of Facebook through their Internet.org organization working with service providers to reach their next billion people, their next billion subscribers. We have examples of WhatsApp working with operators in Germany, this particular operator in Germany, to deliver services. And so two-sided business models are beginning to form. And so what does the network need to do to enable and facilitate this two-sided business model? The third aspect of innovation is about enterprise mobility. The use of mobility in ICT is just beginning, and there is tremendous scope for service providers to address that, to address their enterprise customers. The last principle of efficiency is about taking and reducing the cost of serving the end users. The cost of generating content on the internet has fallen dramatically in the last 5-6 years with cloud technology in major data centers. The cost of transmitting these bits and bytes over the network has dropped, but it has not had the same step change as the cost of generating content. So what technologies can we bring to bear to make that two go together and provide a better business value for our service providers?
Well, can you give examples of those technologies?
Absolutely. Now, these technologies is about stripping out the complexities of provisioning. It is about stripping out the underlying complexities on topology. And there are three new exciting technologies that are coming together to enable this to happen. That's cloud, that is NFV, network function virtualization, and that's service provider SDN. We believe that all three have to come together to tango. Cloud is about building a real-time infrastructure that has guaranteed performance, guaranteed uptime so that the telco services are not compromised, and giving the elasticity for telco network applications to scale up and scale down on demand and be instantiated in order of minutes and hours and not days, weeks, and months. Network function virtualization is about then how do you take functions that reside on hardware today that are vendor specific and put them on a cloud and data center infrastructure. How do you extract the software value from these applications and then put it on a cloud infrastructure. And here we're trying to industrialize the move of NFV so that they have that real-time performance, and NFV then becomes a basic enabler that sits on top of the cloud. The final piece of the puzzle is really service provider SDN. So you've got the data centers, you've got the network functions in the data centers. What facilitates the communications between the virtual machines? What facilitates the communications between the data centers in an automated way? And that's where we see SP SDN, service provider SDN, playing a critical role.
Can you give an example of how a real-time cloud approach can help operators launch new services?
That's a really good question. So the real-time cloud is about the operators building and owning the network, but providing control of the network to their users. So this is a concept we call network slicing. So, let me give you some examples. We have a connected car industry that's coming up. Cars will get mobile connections so that sensors can be reported back, et cetera, and the car manufacturers can then create a slice of the network through the service provider network to facilitate that communications. So you have different slices for different purposes. If it's for a driverless car, the requirements on the network will be very stringent. But the kid that sits in the car watching YouTube is a different slice because he doesn't need the same quality. So that's in the mobile environment. Now, in the fixed environment, we're talking about turning the home upside down. We have a home CPE today with our internet service that fulfills 5 or 6 network functions. Can we virtualize this in the telecom core? And can we then provide individualized service to the end users so that all your devices at home gets an individualized service versus getting a singular broadband connectivity at home? So these are the 2 examples that we can quote to create slices in the network.
Can you give an example of specific projects in this transformational area that Ericsson has done recently?
Absolutely. At Mobile World Congress in February this year, we were proud to be, there was a press release that AT&T had selected Ericsson as a cloud transformation partner for their user-defined cloud. And as the name implies, it means that the user can define the services they want from the AT&T's cloud. And we are the prime system integrator and prime transformation partner for them, and we're very proud to have that role.
Thanks, Brian, for your insight this afternoon.
Right, thank you very much.